Oh man, the cows would be loving that. Holy, these roads are crappy. I don't know what the heck happened here. No road work, that's for sure. Whoa, bumpy! This road sucks. Okay, so me and my sister are going for our first ride together of the year. So she's got her road test in a couple months, or about a month now actually, I guess. So she's got to practice her riding skills. Mostly she needs to practice her slow maneuvering parking lot skills, because that's what she's got to do next, is her skills test. But riding on the road doesn't hurt either, and it's a lot easier to go for a ride. So we will be going out and doing some parking lot practicing probably in the next day here or something. We kind of have to work around her work schedule a little bit, so yeah. She's actually doing pretty good, but she's not really got like the clutch and the friction zone thing down yet. Well, I guess I had to switch the link setup, so just gonna have to work this way, I guess. I've taken you guys up Glenmore Road a few times, but I don't think I've taken you up there in the spring before. Or maybe I have, but either way, it's a really nice ride. There's all kinds of little lakes and stuff along the way, and yeah, it's called Lake Country for a reason. I just can't wait till Lacey is like actually riding a bigger bike. She's definitely not ready for her Sportster yet. I've told her that I wouldn't upgrade to the Sportster until she's totally 100% comfortable on the bike that she's riding and feels like she could go for something bigger. Like there's no reason to rush into a big bike, and a 1200 Sportster isn't necessarily a little bike. It may be little to some people, but for a girl Lacey's size, it's like a decent sized bike. And it's a little tall for her too, so it's just a lot safer just to feel comfortable. I went from a 250 to my Shovelhead, which is a 96, was a 93-ish stroker at the time. But when I went from that 250 to my Shovelhead, I had been riding already for like 5 years or something, and I felt completely outgrown my 250. Like I felt like I couldn't get enough speed and power out of it because I'd just been riding it for so long. But yeah, I can't wait till she's riding something a little bigger because I feel like I'm like just going so slow. thought about going and taking an instructor's course to be a riding instructor, to do like the parking lot exam for people and road tests and stuff like that. And the V-Twin school in Kelowna here that I was talking to at the time about hiring me, they were actually really into it. But I ended up not doing it because, partly because I just didn't have the money to take the course at the time, but then also because you need to have a bike that's like totally road legal, let's say. So it's gotta have like all the proper lights and everything like that. And my bike is just not really the kind of bike that you can use conveniently as an instructor's motorcycle. So that's kind of why I never did it. But now that I have my Dyna, that's something that I totally could do if I wanted to. When people would tell me it sounded like I was riding a lawnmower, but I used to ride that bike. Actually, that's the bike that I learned on, and yeah, it totally sounds like a lawnmower. For what these little bikes are, they're not bad. They're actually a pretty cool bike for someone who's just starting out. Like normally you wouldn't get to start on something that's just like a cool little bobber like that. But for the money, I think you're paying more for the novelty than quality when it comes to those little things. And I think the company actually, Kicker 5150, actually went out of business like a few years ago. Probably something to do with maybe the quality of the bike. I know that when my sister-in-law got that bike originally, my brother got it for his wife anyway, and my dad ended up doing a bunch of just little modifications on it just to make it more reliable, I guess. It's kind of just like tinsely put together. So my dad like made new engine mounts for it and stuff, and just made it something that wasn't going to rattle into pieces in the first 100 miles. And it's pretty good actually. Like it's got two of us, our motorcycle license. It's taught my nephew how to ride, and now it's getting my sister her motorcycle license. So they are pretty good little bikes. And I know you can buy them secondhand still, like you see them all over Kijiji. And most people I think have modified them to some degree or another. But yeah, I think they're pretty cool little bikes. I loved it while I was riding it. But it was never mine. It was always my sister-in-law's bike. And then she was kind enough to let me break it in for her. So I rode it for, I think, like a year, maybe 2 summers I rode it for. And then I got my little XT 250 that was actually something that my brother got. And then he kind of gave it to our younger brother. And then I ended up with it. And I rode it for like 5 years, but my dad also modified that one. Maybe I'll put a picture of it up in the screen here. My little XT he modified to make it look like a cafe racer, and mostly just to make it fit me because it was like way too tall for me, and I needed something just to ride around. So he put a different seat on it, and he actually took out the monoshock from the back and just kind of made it into a hardtail pretty much. And then he shortened the front end just to help lower it. And yeah, it was a good bike. I rode that for like 5 years. I've actually always really liked the old single cylinder like Yamahas. Yeah, I really like them. I think they make cool little choppers and stuff. And they're reliable little bikes. Like, you can get a ton of miles out of one of those Soviet mods. But nothing beats the sound of a Harley, in my opinion anyway. Harleys just have that sound. I do also think that other bikes can have a pretty nice sound. I definitely like the sound of a four-stroke, and I'm just thinking about the Judge, the Queen's bike that I rode, a Triumph that he redid the engine on. That bike just sounds so good, man. Like, I love the sound of that bike. Yeah, if I was ever going to get a Triumph and move to Florida, definitely would be hitting up Williams for some help and advice. And Williams actually has a YouTube channel too, so any of you guys who are into the British bike, you should go check him out, because that's pretty much all that he does is British bikes, and he's just super good at what he does. You guys think my dad is good at what he does, and Williams is definitely the same kind of meticulous manner and just attention to detail and everything. Okay, I guess we're gonna ride up this road a bit and see what's up there. I've actually never ridden up this road. I always just like, I don't even know, ride out and turn around at the gas station. I guess that's what happens when you like are riding alone all the time. You don't tend to stop anywhere. I don't anyway. But maybe I should. Maybe I should check out more places. Or it kind of just sounds like a really aggressive bumblebee. Could you imagine, like, if bugs were that big that was how they sounded, like when you could hear them flying above you? That would be so scary. Hopefully you guys can hear me well enough. I feel like her bike is so loud. I was just thinking, it is baby bird season. This is the time of year that all the baby crows are being born, little babies. And my crow will be almost a year old soon. My little buddy just never came home, my little crow baby. Hopefully he's just out there like making friends and stuff. But interesting facts about crows I'm going to share with you guys, because I've had a lot of people asking me about my crow and if he ever came home, and I've had a lot of people saying things trying to comfort me, and just saying that he's probably out there making his own babies and all that. And I've also had people asking how they can get their own baby crow. So I would never take a crow or any wild bird, for that matter, from its family. The only reason why I've ever ended up with any wild bird is because they were either injured or they were abandoned by their family. So that's the only reason why I had my crow too, is because he had a broken hip. And he would have died if he would have been left where he was. It's normal to see fledgling crows, baby crows, like when they're learning how to fly, they will spend like a couple days on the ground. So you don't want to just go scooping up baby crows if you see them walking around on the ground, right? Because they're going to spend a couple days walking around and kind of just looking like they're lost. I think we're going to turn around. So another fact about crows, other than the fact that they spend a lot of time on the ground as babies and you don't want to take them unless you know they need help, is crows will actually spend about 2 years on their own or with their own family until they actually go and make a family of their own. So crows don't start mating until they're 2 years old, and until that time they will just kind of stay with their parents, and they will help their parents to take care of whatever little younger siblings they end up having from different like broods or whatever. So they'll help feed them and protect them and stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say is my crow is definitely not out there making a family of his own yet, because he or she is not old enough. But another thing is my crow left when it was really cold, and I still actually kind of feel guilty for even letting him go outside, because he had been at home for like 5 days, which was kind of getting unusual for him, because normally he would go home, he'd come home for a day or two at the most, and then he would leave, and then he would be gone for 2 or 3 days and then come home, and he had this pattern. But this last time that he came home in January, it was like 5 days he'd been at home, and it was like minus 10, minus 12 during the day, and he was just kind of sticking around, I thought maybe because it was cold. And on the day that he left, it was minus 12 outside, and he was acting like he wanted to go outside, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to let him outside, but he was really like getting all antsy and like he wanted to go out, and I let him make that choice for himself, because he is a wild animal after all. And I had him on my arm, and I opened the back sliding glass door for him, and he just kind of like hung out on my arm, like he couldn't decide if he wanted to go out or not. So he hung out for like, I want to say like a full minute, maybe 2 on my arm, and which was weird, because normally if he wanted to go outside, he would just leave. Like as soon as I opened the door, he'd be gone. But this time he just kind of hung out, like he was trying to decide if he wanted to go. And then I like said to him, I was like, I'm gonna close the door, bird, if you don't decide what you're gonna do. So right when I was like about to close the door, he flew out, and then he landed on this little like perch thing that I have set up on the patio for him, which is also something that he never did. If he flew out, normally he would just fly away, but this time he landed on this little perch, and he kind of looked at me, and then he flew off. And that was the last time I saw him. And it was minus 12 when he left, and then it was minus 18 and like a severe windstorm that night. And then for the next 3 days or 4 days, it was really cool. For like 5 days after that, it was like minus 20 during the nights and stuff. So that's really why I still feel guilty that he left when it was so cold. And that was just like the last time I saw him, and then him sitting on my arm, just like staring at me, not making up his mind. I don't know, I guess when I think about it, I keep feeling like I should have just not opened the door for him. But then, you know, like he's a wild animal too, so like I can't really just not let him do what he wants to do. But then, yeah, he hasn't come back since, so I guess that's how come I've just been so sad about it, is because I just wish the weather would have been nicer when he decided to leave, because with the weather being what it was, then it was just hard to know if he was okay when he was gone.
Well, we're back, and in true GoPro fashion, the cameras both died about halfway through the ride. And as I was saying when the camera died about my crow, one thing that was comforting to find out about crows in the winter time is that typically crows are pretty territorial, but in the winter time they're not as territorial, because they all like to huddle together for warmth. So my crow leaving when it was so cold may have been his opportunity to actually get into a crow group and to be accepted. So I'm hoping that that's what happened with my crow. But for anybody who's asked, no, he has not come home. I haven't seen or heard of him since he left on that very cold day in January. And I just hope that he's doing okay, and I hope that it was his chance to actually get accepted into a crow group. So anyways, that was mine and my sister's first ride together of the year. Hopefully she'll be on her Sportster soon. And we just need to do a little more practicing and stuff, get her comfortable on the road and with the clutch and everything else, and then I should have a riding buddy, hopefully places to go and stuff to see with someone else on a bike. It's getting windy out here, guys, and I don't have a mic, so I'm gonna end this video, but thanks a lot for coming along. And like always, if you guys like what you see, or if you just like me, or even if you don't like me but you like my bike, then like, comment, subscribe, and like always, I will catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.
Oh, what's going on here? Need to get into neutral. Why are you not letting me get into neutral, bike? Come on, let me into neutral. There. Holy. Hard to hold on to that forever. Hope this light changes for us. Great. We missed it. Is this light ever gonna change? We gotta wait for all the left turn people.